Hey, my name is Bailey Hollingsworth. We're out here on Hierarchy Lake, and let's go see if we can catch some fall bass today. Look how I ate that jig. Right where he's supposed to be. Right on the riprap here, underneath the pier. He just ate a jig on a real calm day like that. That's a pretty fish, real healthy fish. He's been eating really good. Wow. In the fall seasons, the fish are gonna start pushing up to the bank and they're gonna feed up a whole lot. So I picked a couple of my favorite fall lures out. The number one for me come fall is a square bill. It's the color to me is it does matter. Crawdad color is more superior in the fall, but when I'm fishing a muddy reservoir or muddy lake, I like to go with a chartreuse color. And as you can see, this one's chewed up. They've eaten it like crazy the past few falls. You know, just target riprap, transition banks that goes from riprap like chunk rock to pea gravel. And then, you know, another great lure, you know, I try to stay between 12 foot and up, you know, no deeper than 12. This 8-foot run in Berkeley Fritz side here, that's in a crawdad color there. It's a good bait. It's got a deeper lip on it. You're able to get down there a little bit deeper on them deeper riprap banks, even on the big flats that are covered in rocks. If you look, this bait's a lot thinner than the other square bill I was showing you. A lot of times in the wintertime or fall and then into the winter, the fish really like to focus on tight vibrations. This crankbait here will give you a tight vibration. It also floats up, so when you're reeling it, I throw it on a 5-1-to-1 lose reel. When you're reeling it, it will bump a rock and it'll just kind of float up and stay in that strike zone. That's also a fantastic bait in the fall. And when you get into some like nasty cover, you're fishing, there might be a couple stumps around or anything like that, some lay downs, but there's also some riprap around with a lot of bait. I like going for a chatterbait. This is a Z-Man jackhammer chatterbait. Any brand chatterbait will work. I just prefer the Z-Man because it's the jackhammer. It's easier to skip. This just gives a really, really loud vibration in the water. It's really tight, and it's something fish really like to target on come those, you know, cooler months that we get in the fall to fish with. I throw this on just a regular 7-to-2 Shimano reel. The retrieve is, you can reel those just a little bit faster, but a lot of times you're popping it or you're sweeping it through the water and you're trying to get that reaction bite, which is most of the time what people target that time of year for fishing for largemouth. But on a day like we've had today, water temperatures are starting to cool down a whole lot. There's not a cloud in the sky. There's hardly any wind. I went to a jig. This is a 1/2 ounce Arky style jig. I switched up. I had a football head on earlier. You can either do a football or an Arky style. It depends on what type of fishing that you're doing. The football head tends to keep from getting hung up in the rocks as easy as an Arky head because it just kind of comes over top of them. Green pumpkin is a great color all the time. It's a very natural presentation. Fish can't resist it. But when the water does start to get a little bit cooler than it is now, I'll switch to a crawdad color. It'll have green pumpkin skirt with and a couple orange strands in there. And then if I'm in some, you know, really cool, dirty water, I'll definitely go to a black and blue. Black and blue is proven to catch them in those conditions. But right now we've got moderately stained water. Lake's starting to cool off a whole lot. We're getting into those fall months. The leaves are changing. I went just with a green pumpkin. They seem to have liked it. But there's a lot of different baits you can throw. That time of year you can go to a jerkbait or a spinnerbait. But those are my top 4 right there that I've caught a lot of fish on, and I try to target it. Like I said, the fish are feeding up heavy. So if you can get something moving in your hand and catch them on that, you'll eventually run into some better fish. That goes for the 8-foot runner and the square bill. Just kind of play around and see what the fish like. The water temperature will tell you everything you really need to know. Another tip is when you're getting into the fall months and you're getting into later fall and you're kind of going into winter, if you watch the fish's mouth, they'll get real red. You'll pull them out of the water, they'll kind of be white, because I mean that shows that they're, you know, they're kind of up shallow, that's cooler water or whatever. But the fish's mouth will get really red, and that's how their mouth being raw from eating so much, and that a lot of time tends to be crawfish, because crawfish have a harder outer shell. That's when I really start to go for my crawdad color crankbaits, and I just go around the banks and fish around riprap and hope they're there, and most of the time they are. But hopefully these 4 baits, me showing you those, they might can help you get on the water and catch some fish this fall. I know they've really been proven for me, and hopefully they can be proven for you guys. Cool.
There we go. A little bit better fish.